Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Jack Jennings and I'm going to be teaching you 5 positions of the minor pentatonic. This is all part of the Play Lead Guitar program, and this is a program that I've developed to teach lead guitar in a kind of universal approach that you can apply to different styles. We're looking at all different aspects of practice and musicianship skills and technical skills that you need to become a great lead guitar player. So if you're quite new to guitar, this lesson is still great for you because we're going to be teaching things slowly and methodically. And if you are already experienced with the guitar, this video still might be useful just to refine and go over things and maybe just look at them in a slightly different way. And I hope you guys enjoy this lesson. If you want to see a demonstration where I'm playing along with the tablature to show you how to practice exactly, then that's all part of the program, and there's exercises in all different modes, and I've got new lessons coming out next month about technique. So the whole program is going to be spread out over the whole of this academic year, and I think that you guys are going to benefit a lot from this. There's a special offer for the first 50 people to sign up. So thanks very much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. So starting off with minor pentatonic, we're going to play in the key of C, and the first pentatonic shape that everyone usually learns is based around the E chord, and it's the E shape, or could also be referred to as pattern 1 of the minor pentatonic. Now that we've got that root note in C, we can play minor pentatonic shape 1, and it's this 8, 11, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 11, 8, 11. And same on the way down. And I would advise playing the top note twice, and this is going to work really well with the alternate picking. So if you just think about what your pick is doing as you're moving through, it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then if you play that again, the same note twice, then you'll play that with a downstroke. So then you'll get down, up on each string. So this just means that each new string that you move to, you'll be meeting that with a downstroke, and that will really help the picking and the consistency. So down, up, 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 down, up. So that's pattern 1, and the other pattern that people tend to learn straight after that would be pattern 4, or at least this is the way that I learned. I learned pattern 1 and then I learned pattern 4 from my guitar teacher, because that pattern is very similar and it's actually built off the A shape. It's built off the A string. And it's the same, it's just the same if you look at it, the first octave. That's the first octave of the C minor. So if you look at the shape, the distance of the frets, you've got, for example, if you play 1 finger per fret, which is index fingers on fret 8, so then it's going to be middle finger fret 9, ring finger on fret 10, and little finger on fret 11. If you play that, you'll get index, little, index, ring. And then if you move that down to the 3rd fret, so we're going to start now on the 3rd fret of the A string. That's a C note, because A is a B, C. If you just do the same fingering, then that's giving you the same notes, even the same register as well. And then to play the next part of the shape, you just have to play the 4th fret on the B string, and then the 6th fret on the B string, and then you get 3, 6 on the top string. So it kind of feels quite similar to pattern 1, because you actually have these top 2 strings have got those notes that are just 1 fret higher than the middle strings that you played. So it's got a similar kind of shape to it, but you just have to watch out for this B string. This is often something that happens with the B string because of the way that the guitar is tuned. You often have to play the note on the B string like a semitone higher than you normally would on another string. Okay, so you'll start to notice that with different shapes. There's often moving up, and then you might have to sharpen the note on the B string. Okay, so that's called pattern 4. The reason it's called pattern 4, you can think of it as an A shape, because it's based around that A chord. We could base it around an the A minor shape. Again, this is still a C chord. This is a C minor or C major, but it's based around the same shape, based around the same power chord. So you can think of it as a shape, but you can also think of it as pattern 4, because if this was pattern 1, then if we do the next pattern down, we'll actually get that's called pattern 5, because it just joins onto the back of pattern 1. These patterns share the same notes. The half of pattern 1, for example, all the lower notes of pattern 1 will join onto the upper notes of pattern 5. So if I've got pattern 1 using all of these notes here on fret 8, then I can use that same starting point, but I'll play on the other side. So I'll get 8, 6, 8, and you'll see there's a 5, 8, 5, 8, 6, 8, 6, 8. So we've got the 8th fret on every string. You can also play the 8th fret on the bottom note, the bottom string. So they're joined on together. So that's pattern 5. And then just below that, if we went down one more time, we'd have the next pattern, and that's pattern 4. So the numbers, that's how it just works. You know, very simply, you've got pattern 1, pattern 5, and then going back, pattern 4. Okay, and there is a pattern 3 going back again here. We're kind of doing this backwards just because the first pattern is here, and then it's easier to kind of see how they relate going down from there. So there is a pattern 3, and that's kind of based around the open shape. So you could kind of think of that as being a C shape. But we're not using that one in the exercises. We're actually just going to do that one an octave higher. You'll see that in a moment. Just because it's got the open string in there on the open G string. And you won't get as much joy out of that one, to be honest. It's not. It's still useful, but it's not the best place to start practicing that scale. It's better to get it going up here, and then you'll only use it down there really if you need to get some lower notes in there. It can be really good for riffs. Actually, there's a lot of riffs in the third pattern, but maybe we'll look at that some other time. So far we've established here we've got a pattern 4, we've got a pattern 5, and a pattern 1, because it's only 5 patterns, so then you get back to pattern 1. And then there's a pattern 2. This is the only one we really haven't looked at yet. Now pattern 2, the way that most people would play this is actually if you do it like that, it just sounds like a major scale or major pentatonic, because that is actually the major, that's the relative major coming from C. If we got C minor, then E flat major turns out to be the relative major. Okay, so I wouldn't play it like that when you're practicing it, because we want to be thinking of it as a minor pentatonic position right now, not as a major pentatonic, because your ears are clever like that. They will immediately just shift into a different key, into that relative major, and think that you're playing a major pentatonic. So what I would do to kind of remedy that is to actually, you could play just from the D string. If you're looking just to play from a root note, you could just play from the D string. If you were looking just to start from a root note in that pattern, your first root note would actually be on that D string. But then you're ignoring the lower strings completely. I mean, that's actually often what happens with that shape. People tend to play around pattern 1, particularly in blues. They might play pattern 1 and then just simply kind of slide into the top of that pattern 2, just because you get a good couple of notes up there, and it's a you get this very comfortable pattern at the top. And then so a lot of things like so that kind of stuff is usually how that pattern is used. But in terms of just learning the whole pattern, what I would advise doing, pretty much just for the ear training, is to just start with your low C down on the 8th fret of the E string, and then slide into the 11th fret. So 8, 11, 13. And if you go up from there, 8, 11, 13, then it's a 10, 13, 10, 13. Quite big gaps there. And then you've got the top with the 10, 12, 11, 13, 11, 13. So if I play that all the way through, and come back to that low C, now you're hearing it in context of it being a minor pentatonic shape, and you're more likely to absorb it and assimilate it in the right way. Otherwise, like I said before, your ear just thinks that it's major. If you just play, doesn't matter how much we've just practiced C minor for like 5-10 minutes, but if the major scale is so strong that your ear will immediately just think, oh, we've gone to E flat major. So just take that time to go back to C, coming back to that low note to orientate your ear in the right way. Now we're on to the third shape, and we did that a little bit down here because it's kind of based around like an open C chord, but now we're going to do it up here, and it's going to be root note on the A string. We have got some notes below there on the E string that you could play as well, but we'll just start from the A string again, just to orientate our ear around the root note. So we'll have that 15, and then a 13, 15, and then there's a 12, 15, and then you've got a 13, 16. Remember I said a lot of the time on the B string you'll have to bring it up a semitone from where you started on the G string. So if you've got a 12 on the G, you might have to go to a 13th fret on the B string, just because of how the guitar's tuned. And then you've got the 11, 13 on the top. On the bottom string, you've also got the 13 and 15. So the bottom three strings are all symmetrical: 13, 15, 13, 15, 13, 15. That's the lower three strings, and then the top three strings, they're all different to each other. So look out for that 12, 15, and then a 13, 16, and then a 13, 15. So they're all different. That kind of bluesy thing can come out of that. That kind of thing can... That actually comes out of that shape really, really well, but just, sticking to the top few notes. So that's actually all of the different shapes there. We can repeat the shapes, like the fourth shape that we had there can be just repeated an octave higher. So in each exercise I tend to start from pattern 4, because that's the lowest pattern in this key that I would really get the most use out of. Then on to pattern 5, pattern 1, and we have the pattern 2 there, and then pattern 3 there. And you could just keep on going. Pattern 4 and a pattern 5 becomes pretty much the highest one you could do there would be pattern 5. But if you just learn them in these regular positions, then you'll be able to put them up the octave just in your own practice. You'll see how to expand that, and in the future I might do a different course just looking at more kind of high positions, just to give you a good practice routine for that as well. So that just summarizes the 5 different minor pentatonic positions, and what we're going to do next is add 2 different notes into each pattern to generate different scales, whether it's the natural minor or the Dorian or the Phrygian scale. All of these modes actually share the same pentatonic basis, but you can just add different notes into them to create these different modal scales. So we're going to just build on top of this minor pentatonic framework, and it's going to be much easier then to tackle all of these different modes. This is the way that I learned when I was really getting into modes. So see you on the next lesson, and we'll get stuck into that.